Yo, YouTube, what is up? How are you guys doing today? I know I normally don't post on Thursdays, but I finished all of my finals. I am free, I am in the clear, I am feeling fucked up. I failed both of my finals, passed my classes, failed both of my finals. I did more math calculating what I needed to pass my finals than I did on my actual finals. So, besides the point, we are back with another One Piece character crash course video today. Today we are going to have a great time covering, I decided I would skip 90% of the rest of the Charlotte family because in my honest opinion, fuck them, 99% of them are completely irrelevant with like 5 minutes of information on them. So I figured I'd just start skipping to the good characters so we could have some fun with it. And speaking of fun, I got nothing. Anyways, today in One Piece Character Crash Course, we are going to be covering Charlotte Pudding. Alright everybody, let's get right on into it. So, Charlotte Pudding is the 35th daughter and 76th child of the Charlotte family, an officer of the Big Mom Pirates, and a hybrid between a human and a member of the Three-Eye Tribe. She also works as a chocolatier and the owner of the Cafe Caramel on Cacao Island as the candidate for the vacant position of Minister of Chocolate. She was once Sanji's arranged fiancée per the political agreement between the Vinsmoke family and the Charlotte family. She was initially an enemy of the Straw Hat Pirates, but after genuinely falling in love with Sanji, this changed as she tried to then help them escape from her mother, Charlotte Linlin. She's a supporting character in the 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚒𝚑𝚝 an emotionless excursion cover page serial and is currently being held captive by the Blackbeard Pirates. Alright, now we will move on into her appearance. So, Pudding is a curvaceous teenage girl with round reddish-brown eyes, blue in the manga, and prominent lips. She is somewhat short, shown to be about one head shorter than Sanji, who is 180 centimeters even. I do not know what that is in feet and inches, when standing directly in front of him. She has light brown hair styled in pigtails in the back and side-swept bangs in the front. Her most defining feature is her third eye on her forehead, which is usually covered by her bangs. As a child, she had shorter hair tied in two pigtails. She wore a pink dress with a floral pattern, and later a red dress with a white collar. In her first appearance in the Fishman Island arc, her hair was styled slightly differently, being tied into a single ponytail on the top of her head, and lacking her bangs, exposing her third eye. She wore a revealing pink blouse along with an orange corset, puffy red pants, red suspenders, and matching red shoes. In the photograph of her that Vito showed Sanji, she wore a blue outfit decorated with a floral pattern. When she first encountered the Sanji retrieval team at Cacao Island, she wore a frilly light purple top with a pink stripe down the middle and puffy light purple pants. While she was at the bridal store in Sweet City, she wore a light purple dress. At the Whole Cake Chateau prior to the wedding, she wore a light pink dress, which is the one shown here. During her wedding with Sanji, she wore a white bridal outfit with roses on both sides of her hair. When she returned to Cacao Island to make the substitute wedding cake, Pudding changed her outfit into a chef's attire, which includes a chef's hat and an apron. Her chef's outfit has a knee-length dark-colored skirt, which she parted ways with Sanji. Pudding wears a cloak as well. And just very briefly, I am going to show you guys her other outfits. So we have the main one. This is her first outfit as a child. We can see the pigtails there. This is the red dress with the white collar. I cannot remember precisely why she is crying or holding a knife in this picture, but it's kind of interesting to say the least. This is our first glimpse of her with the red puffy pants and the pink shirt. Then we've got the photo Vito shows Sanji of Pudding with the blue dress with the flowers on it. This is her puffy purple pants and I think that's purple. I'm colorblind, so I can't really tell. Purple shirt. This is the light blue dress she wears. This is a better full frame picture of this outfit. Then we have her wedding dress. We see the roses on the side. And then this is her chef's outfit that she wears when cooking the cake with Sanji. Alright, now we're going to move on into and cover Pudding's personality. Now, as a child, Pudding was abused and ridiculed because of her third eye. Under her mother's rule, she decided to cover her eye with her hair, which escalated to hiding more aspects of herself. Linlin's tyranny made Pudding feel like her mother's puppet, and she was unable to go against her orders despite internally resenting her. In truth, Pudding is very timid, sensitive, and frightful, which she flawlessly hid with her superior acting skills. She actually possesses a strong inferiority complex concerning her third eye, planted by the mocking of children during her youth and her own mother's tactless and mean comments. When Sanji became the first person in her life to say something nice about her third eye, Pudding became emotional and even broke down in genuine tears, showing her true personality and preventing her from following her mother's instructions to kill Sanji. Although she attempted to kill Sanji even after he saved her life, while admitting about her true nature and that she had deceived him, Sanji surmised that Pudding was deceiving herself as much as she was deceiving others. Having been touched by Sanji's kindness, Pudding developed a genuine romantic fixation on Sanji and an erratic personality disorder centered around him, which can be described as an extreme form of tsundere. Her moods rapidly switch between her dishonest Soon half, in which she openly and seemingly happily scorns Sanji and those associating him, to her loving Dere half, which she would blush and act affectionately towards him. This dichotomy of emotions confuses even Pudding, as she wonders aloud why she behaves the way she does after her emotions take hold. Whenever she watches Sanji do something incredible, Pudding blushes heavily, even getting a nosebleed herself, as seen when witnessing Sanji kick her brother Oven aside. She even developed a genuine care for Sanji's interest, as she showed concern for Luffy after hearing about his fight with 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚒𝚝 and Chiffon when Oven threatened her life. Thanks to her acting skills, Pudding created a mask of a vicious and cruel person. As part of her mother's plan to assassinate the entire Vince Milk family, Pudding deceived Sanji into believing she loved him, taking advantage of his attraction towards her as well as his own vulnerable state of mind, caused by her family taking his friends and Zeph hostage. She also successfully deceived the Straw Hats who had come to retrieve Sanji, convincing them that she would release Sanji from their arranged marriage and help reunite them with him. As part of her act, she also mocks and insults her enemies and will simply ignore efforts to insult her back. She showed a great degree of sadism, as she enjoys torturing her opponents with the horrific truth as soon as she believes she can get away with it, which is made easier by her ability to manipulate memories, which we will get into in a minute when we talk about her abilities and powers. It's a devil fruit. I'm gonna spoil it a little bit. Believing people would hate her, Pudding often reveals her third eye when playing this character. Pudding seems to find her image and popularity as a good girl important and wishes to keep it up. She is willing to put a lot of effort into erasing and manipulating everyone's memories to keep them from finding out her evil personality, although she wishes there was a simpler way with less work. As part of her act, Pudding appears to be a misandrist and shallow girl with a low opinion on men, believing they are easily duped by her crocodile tears, and held Sanji's love-filled confession in low regard, treating it as though it was a joke. Pudding also vocally expressed her disgust at Sanji's swollen face, degrading it as an ugly and unlovable, and considers him unworthy of being a proper prince. She does not like perverted behavior being directed towards her by people she does not care for, as she becomes filled with rage and disgust when Sanji has a nosebleed after she pretends to entice him, to the point where she is so overwhelmed with a strong urge to kill him. Away from her family, Pudding shows another personality, however, more closely resembling her true self. When Pudding was first introduced, she appeared to be a benevolent and kind girl to others. She seemed to truly love Sanji and wanted to marry him, but understood his wishes of wanting to return to his crew. She was even willing to help his crewmates rescue him. Upon realizing he was already imprisoned by Big Mom's shackles and having no one left to rely on, she swore that she would not let their marriage be hell for him. This kind of personality is often used to lure her victims into trusting her. I just choked on spit there. That's kind of embarrassing. But yeah, that was her personality. Okay, so now we will move on into her relationships, starting with her family, and buckle up because the relationships is going to be a long section. Alright, so starting with Charlotte Linlin, her mother. Pudding appears to be loyal to her mother, who knows her real nature, her strengths, and her true value to the Big Mom's plans. Pudding referred to herself as her mother's favorite, and while she sometimes tires of Big Mom's excessive pampering, she is willing to put on an act to further her mother's plans. She shares her mother's sadistic lust for violence. However, like most of her siblings, she is truly afraid of her mother. Deep down, Pudding despises her mother for her cruelty and for her viewing her as nothing more than a doll, and for being so controlling in her life. Despite favoring Pudding, Big Mom finds Pudding's third eye creepy and went as far as convincing Pudding to grow her bangs to cover it. There was a scene in the anime where we see it's like a flashback where Big Mom is actively mocking Pudding for her third eye, and it kind of shows an interesting light on the entire dynamic and relationship between them. Now, back to the family. During the ceremony, Big Mom was annoyed with Pudding's failure to kill Sanji as planned. Pudding is also aware that her mother only favors her due to her potential to awaken the ability to decipher the poneglyphs, knows that her mother's love for her is solely based on how useful she is. So, the Third Eye tribe has this, there's like a legend about them that they can awaken their true ability, which is to be able to read and decipher poneglyphs, which, I think is one of the main reasons Big Mom had a child with a member of the Third Eye tribe, so she could have someone who could decipher the poneglyphs, and that's why she is so cruel towards Pudding, because Pudding has not yet developed that or awakened that ability. Pudding does not think she will, but we'll get into that more when we talk about the abilities and powers. Anyways, after falling in love with Sanji after the wedding, she defied her mother to save Sanji and his friends. However, later at Onigashima, Big Mom effectively gave up on Pudding's awakening her ability to decipher the poneglyphs, and now would rather capture Nico Robin alive than wait for Pudding to be able to read them. Most of the world wants Robin. So, I'm not surprised that Big Mom would want Robin as well. But we're not talking about Big Mom or Robin, we're talking about Pudding. Now, her relationship with Lola, her sister. Pudding talked admirably about Lola, who left Totoland when Pudding was a child, and the two seemed to part amiably. Pudding does think highly of Lola, as she refused to take her place as Minister of Chocolate, believing that Lola was more fit for the role despite the fact that Lola is a criminal in the eyes of the Charlotte family. Now, her older brother, Daifuku, who is one of the stronger combatants in the Big Mom family. Because of Pudding's failure to assassinate Sanji on the wedding altar, Daifuku treated her with disrespect. Daifuku considered his own younger sister to be a useless good-for-nothing for failing in her task, and even slapped her away to take her place to kill Sanji himself. Despite that, Daifuku did not object when Pudding volunteered to make a new wedding cake for Big Mom, presumably because Pudding is probably the second best chef on the island, in the Big Mom family, or best chef in the family, second best chef in the Big Mom Pirates behind the head chef 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚢𝚛. Now, her relationship with 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚢𝚛, my least favorite Charlotte family member. I don't like his tongue. When 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚢𝚛 was fearing for his life after he manipulated Big Mom into going after the Straw Hats, Pudding eased his worries when she came up with the plan to make another cake. Her brother expressed gratitude for her actions, which would save him from Big Mom's devil fruit ability, which would straight up kill him. So, her relationship with Chiffon now. It appears Pudding holds her sister's cooking abilities in high respect, as Pudding was confident that Chiffon's assistant would help her make another wedding cake for their crazed mother. During their journey to save the Straw Hats, Chiffon brought up the times they used to make cakes together, hinting that they were close in the past. However, Chiffon was put off by Pudding's fixation on Sanji after they managed to locate him in the seducing woods. Chiffon also acted as the voice of reason for Pudding whenever the latter's evil self appeared, and explained Pudding's true intentions, though she was exasperated by her sister's personality shifts. As, I hope everybody was exasperated by that. It was all over the place. I mean, it was hard to follow. Anyways, Chiffon also scolded Pudding when she mocked Sanji after they completed the substitute wedding cake. When Oven threatened Chiffon before they left Cacao Island, Pudding tried to defend her by attempting to dissuade Oven from harming her. Speaking of Oven, her relationship with Oven. Oven has some respect for his younger sister Pudding, as he honored her request to not enter the sweets factory at Cacao Island while the substitute wedding cake was being made. I swear to God, if you try to jump out that window, I will come after you, and it will not be pretty for any of us. When the chefs depart from the second wedding cake, Oven allowed Pudding to pass, but he ignored her when she begged him not to harm Chiffon. Now, moving on from her family into her friends. Nitro and Rabion. Pudding appears to be close with her homies, Nitro and Rabion, two homies created by Big Mom. One of them is a magic carpet, one of them is a slug-like candy. They remain loyal to her, even though Pudding was helping the Straw Hats escape from her mother after the destruction of the Whole Cake Chateau. Now, her enemies. There's got to be something, like a turkey or something. No, there's just a... I got like 9 squirrels in my backyard right now. If I trusted you not to die, I'd let you fuck them up. But I also feel like that's illegal, so I probably shouldn't. Anyways, her enemies, specifically 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚢𝚛𝚒𝚑𝚝, Sanji's only sister. 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚢𝚛𝚒 originally claimed that she thought Pudding as sweet and would be fitting wife for Sanji. However, it is later revealed that she had long harbored suspicions about Pudding's true nature, leading her to conduct her own investigations. These suspicions were confirmed when Pudding caught Reiju snooping around her, leading Pudding to shoot Reiju in the leg and reveal her true nature. As Pudding gloated at Reiju, mocking Sanji in Reiju's presence, and speaking sadistically about their upcoming plans to have all of the Vinsmoke murdered, Reiju listened passively before replying with sarcasm, which Pudding brushed aside. After further mockery directed at Reiju's family, Pudding removed Reiju's memories about their encounter in an attempt to leave Reiju in the dark about her true personality. However, Sanji, having overheard everything, told Reiju about what truly happened, thus giving Reiju confirmation about the accuracy of her suspicion. Now, there is a tab listed as Others, specifically talking about the citizens of Totoland. So, as a child, Pudding grew up in Totoland and was subjected to repeated discrimination by the citizens due to her third eye being scornfully insulted as a disgusting monster by adults and viciously bullied by children of her age. Eventually, these cruel experiences utterly twisted and corrupted her personality, and she ruthlessly retaliated by stabbing one of those bullies with a knife and mercilessly hunted down the rest. That was the picture with the knife and the red dress and the tears. That's where it was from. Now I remember. Ugh, I feel like I should have known that. As an adult, due to her concealing her third eye with her bangs along with her feigning an outward personality of kindness and innocence, Pudding is an extremely popular person with the citizens who respectfully addresses her as Pudding-sama. A police officer congratulated Pudding on her upcoming marriage, stating that they all sincerely wished for her happiness. On the day of her marriage, all the citizens of Totoland happily celebrated, expressing great joy for Pudding. However, Pudding herself planned to modify all their memories after the Vinsmoke family assassination, though is dismayed by the immense amount of hard work that is required. According to Pudding, the citizens were among the countless victims she had deceived. When Pudding claimed that she planned to put her sister 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚢𝚛 into submission, the townspeople in the Sweet City were shocked at the devious look she had on her face. After she returned to Cacao Island, the citizens there expressed sorrow that her wedding was ruined. After baking of the substitute wedding cake was completed, Pudding received praise for her efforts. Now, moving on into Sanji, and this is going to be a long part, so bear with me, please. Now, when Big Mom formed a plan to assassinate the Vinsmoke family, Pudding readily agreed to act as a willing bride-to-be for Sanji. When Sanji arrived on Totoland, Pudding pretended to be in love with him and acted like she wanted them to have a happy marriage together, even being receptive to making an effort to free him from the marriage. However, Pudding really thought of Sanji as nothing more than a pawn, dismissing the prospect of marrying him. She showed her utter contempt for Sanji by mocking his confession and appearance, his swollen face from being injured by his brother, going as far as to make fun of his proposal and pulling faces in imitation of those as she thought they would make when ultimately prepares to kill him. She further calls him ugly and a failure just like his brothers do, even considered him unworthy to be a proper prince. Unbeknownst to her, Sanji overheard her conversation with her sister and was very shocked when he saw her true persona and her third eye for the first time, and became devastated when she revealed that she and her mother had intended to kill the entire Vinsmoke family during the ceremony. Upon listening to her mockeries and insults of him, Sanji was left with a broken heart, crying silently in the rain. This was one of the hardest Not literally one. Yeah, it was one of the hardest episodes to watch, man. Sanji spends all this time cooking a meal for her, and then he's bringing it to her, can't get into her room, so he goes around the balcony. I think the episode's called A Wet Cigarette, and we hear all of this happening. Sanji kind of leans up against the wall in the rain, takes out his cigarette, puts it in his mouth, and he's trying to light his cigarette, and it's not working, and we get this image of like a cool, calm, collected Sanji, and then it shows his face and he's like sobbing, and that hurt, dude. Oh my god, One Piece is such a beautifully made show. Anyways, on the day of the wedding, Pudding expressed dismay at the thought of her dress becoming splattered with blood after killing Sanji, whom she referred to as an idiot at that point. Later, as she and Sanji prepared to appear at the ceremony, she continued her act in front of him. Sanji, while aware of her true nature, struggled with his natural responses to her attractiveness, which led Pudding to become internally irritated with his perverted behavior. During the ceremony, Pudding was ready to go through with her mother's plan. However, after Sanji called her third eye beautiful, she broke down due to being unable in that moment to shoot the first person to compliment her third eye. Moments later, when the cake collapsed under them, Sanji did not hesitate to save her. However, when they landed, she immediately resumed her efforts to try to kill him, but failed each time, despite finally revealing her true nature to Sanji while not knowing that Sanji was already aware before the ceremony. She once again was taken off guard after he asked her if during her deceptions of others she had also deceived herself. Later, Pudding personally witnessed Sanji's kindness by watching him heroically saving Nami from falling as she looked on in shock. Sometime after the Straw Hats escaped the Whole Cake Chateau, Pudding told her family she was angered by Sanji's words to her third eye and wanted revenge on him for his supposed mockery. This was merely an act, however, as it was revealed that she has fallen in love with Sanji due to his kindness in being the first and only person to ever say something nice about her third eye. In stark contrast to her behavior towards him previously, she can no longer interact with him without blushing wildly and panicking. Motivated by her newfound feelings, she even turned on her mother for his sake and began to actively assist Sanji and the Sanji retrieval team in escaping Whole Cake Island. However, due to suddenly developing an erratic personality disorder, her mood switched rapidly from outwardly expressing both love and disdain for Sanji, and sometimes at the same time. Despite this, however, she continued to assist Sanji and the Straw Hats, even as she lapsed into her evil pudding persona. Later, they are shown to cooperate well with each other while baking Big Mom a new cake, with Pudding diligently taking instructions from Sanji. Pudding showed an admiration for Sanji and becomes ecstatic whenever he does something amazing, such as creating a special ingredient that made Chef faint with bliss, saving Chief on an oven and lifting the carriage, holding the wedding cake to Beji's ship with a kick. She was also amazed by his firm objection to Beji's suggestion to put poison or explosives inside the cake that was meant for her mother, even though the latter previously tried to kill him. In these moments, her reactions are no different from Sanji's reaction to her, as she gets nosebleeds as well. Even though Pudding occasionally goes into her evil persona and speaks ill towards Sanji, he pays no mind to it. After leaving the cake in Beji's hand, Pudding took Sanji back to the Sunny so he could reunite with his crew, and later back to Cacao Island so he could help his captain. Sanji graciously thanked Pudding for her help, but Pudding became extremely flustered, wanting to avoid being mistaken as a married couple. While waiting for Luffy on Cacao Island, Sanji decided to part ways with Pudding once Luffy returned and thanked Pudding again for her help. Pudding wanted to apologize to Sanji for her deception, but could not bring herself to do it. Sanji also told Pudding that he was glad she was his fiancée, causing her to become emotional again. Pudding makes one last request to Sanji and takes away a cigarette before kissing him. However, she uses her devil fruit ability to remove the moment from his memory, leaving him without another word. Sanji's departure left Pudding deeply sad and heartbroken, as she was crying while thinking about the memory she had with Sanji. That part also hit me hard, because after the full events, right, and in that moment, I was like, I truly want Pudding and Sanji to, end up together, right? I think out of all of the ships in One Piece, I think, the best ship in One Piece is Sanji and Pudding, right? And I truly want them to be together at the end. So, the fact that she took the memory of their kiss from Sanji kind of sucks, because now Sanji has no memory of this moment, which is sad. It's pretty sad. Now, her relationship with the rest of the Sanji retrieval team. Pudding saved Monkey D. Luffy and Tony Chopper from being arrested for eating her cafe. Appearing as though initially not knowing who they were, she was hospitable towards Luffy's Sanji retrieval team, as she took them to her home and fed them. She then pretended to want to help them take Sanji back, putting on an act that she was in love with Sanji but would let him go. Pedro was the only one who did not trust her during the first meeting due to the fact that she is Big Mom's daughter, and even suggested they restrain her. His suspicions ultimately turned out to be correct. Rest in peace, Pedro. It turned out that she lured the team into the seducing woods, which was crawling with enemies, and when Luffy and Nami were imprisoned by the Big Mom pirates, she gleefully revealed to them her plan to kill Sanji, and that they were never meant to leave Whole Cake Island alive. While this shocked and angered them, she also referred to them both as kids, despite the fact that they were both older than her. Then she left while mocking their predicament with fake tears. Brook later found out about her true nature when he was held captive by Big Mom. The Whole Cake Island was Brook's arc, right? We'll talk about that later, but Brook bossed up in that arc hard. After the retrieval team escaped the Whole Cake Chateau, Pudding, who had a change of heart, decided to assist them when her crazed mother was pursuing them for the wedding cake. When she approached the team, Luffy was angry to see her again, but was confused by her erratic personality disorder as her outward expressions rapidly switched between wanting to help them and wanting them dead. However, Pudding did aid the team by helping them reach the coast where their ship was located. While baking the cake for Big Mom, Pudding expressed her concern for Luffy's safety due to his fight with Katakuri. Alright, and now we're going to go on and move into her abilities and powers. Now, as an officer of the Big Mom Pirates, Pudding holds authority over lower-ranking members of the crew and army. As a half-member of the Three-Eyed Tribe, Pudding may also be capable of awakening a true power that will allow her to decipher the text on poneglyphs. Although she has stated she may be unable to do so due to her mixed heritage. She also intends to use her third eye as a means of psychological attack, shocking Sanji with it during their wedding in order to create an opening for her to shoot him. Pudding possesses a very strong will, as she was able to withstand a burst of Big Mom's Conqueror's Haki and stay conscious from her loud scream. Now, physical abilities. Strength-wise, Pudding appears to be nowhere near the level of most of her siblings. However, she seems to have enough strength in her arms to harm individuals whose bodies have been modified to withstand heavy damage. She also has extremely sharp eyesight, as she could tell it was Sanji who kicked her brother Oven aside, even when Sanji was moving so fast that no one else noticed. Now, her specific techniques, there's only one listed. It is called Pudding Punch. Pudding punches her opponent with her right arm. This was first used against Niji and Yonji when they were held captive in Mont Dior's book. The punch struck both of them consecutively and was seemingly able to damage them despite their tough exoskeletons. Now, her acting skills. Pudding is a master of deceit, being an extremely skilled and talented actress with a specialty in drama and enticement, with Big Mom thinking highly of her ability and doting on her because of it. Before selecting targets, as much as in public, Pudding can unerringly adopt the personality traits of a wholly kind, gentle, and innocent woman, in vast contrast to her true self, fooling nearly anyone she wants to into utter manipulation, including the citizenry of Totoland and Sanji, despite Luffy and Sanji's aptitude in despite their aptitude in observation haki, to the point where she said their three were utterly befuddled upon learning the truth. Supposedly, only her family is aware of Pudding's true nature. A master seductress, she uses her beauty in conjunction with such faint persona to captivate men, particularly shown with Sanji and Brook, who are completely charmed by her, as opposed to Pedro, who is not, but is noted to be excessively cautious towards any stranger. More specifically, Pudding can cry at will, which is a lot harder than people think it is, and has a knack for making an overly dramatic expression, like when she comically mimicked Sanji in ways that Nitro and Rabian noted were absolutely spot on. However, it seems to take a lot of effort for Pudding to pull off her acts. She would require moments when she could let loose her true emotions to others, as when she sadistically revealed her true colors to Reiju when she began to investigate her, but only because she could use her devil fruit ability to wipe out her memory of it. Also, periods of great shock and emotion can disrupt her ability to fool others, such as when she was surprised and saddened when Sanji became the first person to ever compliment her third eye. According to Sanji, all of the people Pudding had fooled with her acts. She deceived herself the most by convincing herself that she was a heartless monster with no true feelings of anyone else and nothing else. Her culinary expertise. Pudding is also an extremely talented chocolatier, as both Luffy and Chopper find the chocolate biscuits with jam fillings that formed her cafe to be irresistible. According to herself, this is a newly made recipe of milk, beet sugar, and cocoa butter with the texture tender to the point of melting in the mouth. Her chocolate ganache is so smooth it would slide up and out of the pot if the pot's lid isn't covering it. Pudding claims that her skill in making chocolate confectionery is superior to even the head chef of the Big Mom Pirates himself, 𝙲𝚘𝚙𝚅, who is known as the finest chef in Totoland. It was due to her skill that she was requested to succeed Lola as the Minister of Chocolate. However, as we discussed previously in this video, she denied that role due to her admiration for Lola. Now, her cartography capabilities. She also has great cartographic skills. She was shown to be able to draw a map from her memory and give navigation instructions to the Sanji retrieval team on Cacao Island. Furthermore, she displayed knowledge of the New World navigation method with a log pose. Now, marksmanship, which is Pudding's primary combat skills. She is an amazing marksman. She is skilled enough to wield a special revolver and accurately shoot Reiju, a commander of 𝙲𝚘𝚎𝚅, in the leg. However, her skills are still limited as she could not land a hit on Sanji, but that may be in part because Sanji is an expert observation hockey user, and she was not able to hit him at point-blank range. Now, her Devil Fruit, which is very, very it's a very strong devil fruit, right? She ate the Memo no Mi, a paramecia type devil fruit that allows her to manipulate memories. She can reach into a person's head and extract memories in the form of film strips. With this power, she can afford to reveal her true intentions and motivations to her enemies without compromising the plan, as well as manipulate people into doing what she wants without them asking questions. She can cut away frames to remove specific memories from a person's mind. She can then paste new frames to add new memories, which can take the place of the removed memories. And that part right there is incredibly strong. You have the ability to change history, essentially, right? If that ability can be used on enough people in powerful positions, you can rewrite history, right? She can pull like memories of history from people and replace them with a false history, a false narrative of the world, right? So when you think about it like that, like the true capabilities of her devil fruit, it's ridiculously strong. She can also stimulate people's old memories, thus distracting them from the current situation. She can even use this power on homies. In this case, they remember the memories of the people whom their souls originally belonged to. Again, very, 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 very powerful devil fruit. The weapon she uses is a Walker 36 caliber percussion revolver, which is loaded with candy jacket bullets with extraordinary percussive power, able to penetrate the armored skeletons of the Vinsmoke family. Pudding intended to use it to kill Sanji during the exchange of vows, but her skills proved to be limited, as Sanji was able to dodge all of her shots from point-blank range using his observation hockey. Pudding herself picked up a kitchen knife in her cafe when she felt threatened by the Sanji retrieval team, waving it in self-defense. As a child, she also used a knife to get revenge on some bullies, stabbing one of them and then chasing down the others. Alright, so we are going to wrap up with some trivia. So, Pudding's name is a reference to custard pudding, which follows the food-themed names of the Charlotte family and the Big Mom Pirates. Pudding is the third antagonist to change her ways due to Sanji's kindness. The first being Gin in the East Blue arc. He's known as Demon Gin. Sanji's the one who Sanji fed Gin, and he's the one who changed his entire personality because of it. And then Viola from the Dressrosa arc also changed due to Sanji's kindness. Just because Sanji's a G like that. She is also the second character to fall in love with a member of the Straw Hats, the first being Boa Hancock. Pudding and Sanji are very similar to each other in that they are both accomplished cooks. They both are children of royalty. They are both part of famous pirate crews, and both have suffered indignities by their families. She is also the only known member of the Third Eye tribe. And some SBS trivia. Pudding's birthday, June 25th, also known as Pudding Day, is a reference to her full name, and Pudding was ranked by her older siblings as their second favorite younger sister, behind Charlotte Flampe, who I really don't like. So, but yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. It means the world to me every single time you guys do. I do this for you guys. I do this because I love making content. If you guys could like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, it would mean the world to me as a small YouTuber trying to make a name for himself. You guys are the best. I love your support. Thank you so much. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Peace.